So I'd like to do a video on how to drive a manual car in such a way that you can get better gas mileage. So I'm just going to be driving around and kind of explaining my thoughts. So probably the first thing you want to do to save gas is you probably want to know where you're going. I already know how to get where you're going to start with. That way, as soon as you crank your engine, you can start moving and you can prevent yourself from idling too much. Idling is going to kill your gas mileage. Other things that are going to kill your gas mileage are going to be high RPM driving. Obviously, accidents are always more expensive than fuel, so always drive safely. My engine's already warmed up, so I'm not worried about warming it up or anything, but when my engine's cold, I'm usually gonna shift a little bit higher, use a little bit less throttle. So I'm coming up to a light. I know I want to turn left. I'm probably not going to carry all my speed, so I'm just going to coast early. If I do have to slow down, quickly, I'd rather just use the engine. I'm going to get my fan turned on because it's a little bit warm in here, but I'm not going to have it on very high speed. I'm also going to have the AC off. Unfortunately, idling is kind of necessary right now, but you want to try to keep your idling to a minimum. Unfortunately, based on my destination and based on where I started, my origin, I just don't have any good way to get there. This is the most efficient route there. Even though it involves a lot of idling at the start, this should be the end of most of the idling. When I do get up to speed, I'm going to use the power band, not the power band, I'm going to use the efficiency band, so around 2,000 to 3,000 RPM to accelerate. Once I get up to speed, I'm just going to shift to the highest gear where the engine will run smoothly. This car being the VTEC E engine, it does do a pretty good job under 2,000, so I can usually cruise around 1,200, 1,300 RPM with no problems. As soon as I let the clutch out, it's gonna turn green. So I'm gonna get up to about 35 here. I'm not even gonna go into fourth gear. I'm just gonna skip directly into fifth. I'm gonna double clutch to be nice to my synchros. When I skip gears, personally, I just double clutch. I can see that light is red up there. I'm just gonna start coasting in neutral right now. Now, if I coast in gear, I'm not gonna use any gas, but I'm not gonna make it to the light. getting a little bit close. I'm gonna double clutch shift into 4th gear, rev match, yada yada yada, you know the drill. I gotta keep most of my speed through that turn, which is fine and dandy. So I'm kind of at a low RPM, 5th gear, 30 miles per hour, 35 miles an hour. For a lot of people, this is sacrilege. For this car, it's not breaking a sweat. This is the F22 B1 VTEC E engine, where it's shutting off one of the intake valves per cylinder. Shutting off, not really shutting them off, but mostly closing the intake valves. It's going to give it a little bit more air swirl, helps prevent lugging. Another thing you want to do to improve your fuel economy is try to keep your speed under control. You know, in a manual transmission, once you start getting over 35, 40 miles an hour, your gas mileage is going to start falling off. After 65, it starts falling off really fast. And in automatic, usually it picks up to about 40, 45. After that, it starts dropping off. Obviously, after 65, it drops off really fast. And I'm not going to accelerate in 5th gear here. I'm actually going to drop it down to 3rd. And once I'm up to speed, I'm going straight back to 5th gear. So I can see that red light up there. It's got the flashing yellow. I'm pretty sure it's going to turn green soon. I'm just going to coast in neutral up there. Looks like it has turned green. We'll go back into 4th. I'm not going to accelerate too much right away because I know that traffic is going to take some time to get up to speed. But once I see him getting up to speed, I'm going to try to get up there and try to catch up to him, because if I don't, it might turn red and then I kind of wasted all that acceleration. I got my hand on the shifter ready to go to 4th. Not my favorite scenario back there. Okay. Maybe that was a little bit uncalled for, but I mean, I was gonna have to slam the pedal there either way. Figure might as well slam the gas. But if I had my hand on the shifter ready to go to 3rd in case I needed it to get through that light a little quicker. I can go down the hill in 5th gear, but I'm going to use too much RPM. I can shift to neutral, let it idle, and then it's not doing anything. Gravity is doing all the work. Every engine rotation takes work, and you want to try to keep that to a minimum. I'm in 5th gear here, just absolutely sipping fuel. I am picking up speed up this hill, but I don't exactly have a problem with that right now. So I'm just daintily getting up to the limit again. I know a lot of people tend to speed up downhills. A lot of people tend to slow down up hills. I'm the opposite. I usually don't have a problem speeding up a hill because I'm basically charging my gravitational battery. I also don't mind slowing down a hill because if I could shift to neutral and just let the gravity do all the work, I'd much rather do that. And I got my hand on the shifter here ready to go to 3rd in case I need it. Hopefully I don't. Yeah, when I come out to a light, I know what I'm gonna do if it turns yellow. You know, it's not surprising me that light's turning. So I'm keeping my speed under control here. It will come to pass eventually. We're gonna be on a 55 mile per hour road. Eventually, you know, if I'm really trying to save fuel, there's nobody behind me, I might go 50 in the 55 just to save a little bit of extra fuel. I don't have a great paying job. I mean, I don't work that many hours. My time is not as valuable as other people's time, which I wish it was more valuable, but unfortunately it's just not. For me, driving is enjoyable. I like driving. I just like being behind the wheel. I just like being in control of a vehicle, because I mean, how many things can you really control in your life? When you're at the driver's seat of your car, you get to control everything. You can control how efficient you are. You get to control A lot of stuff. So I just like to drive the way I like to drive. Bring it into gear here. I'd rather not use my brakes at all. Anytime you use your brakes, you're wasting energy. I'm gonna have to use my brakes though, because I don't want to break something. And I'm in 4th gear here, but the gravity's doing most of the work. The engine is just barely doing anything. I'll actually go into 5th a little bit early. Again, the engine's barely doing anything. I'm already up to the limit. We're gonna coast to neutral, and gravity is gonna do all the work. I could be in gear right now. Arguably, I should be in gear, but I don't really care. I really don't care. I'm in neutral, saving gas. Yes, my engine is using fuel, but if I'm in gear, I'm using fuel too. Because if I'm in gear not using fuel, guess what? I'm gonna be slowing down. I don't want to slow down right now. I just want to go with the speed that I'm going right now in neutral with no effort. Gravity is doing all the work. I got my hand on the shifter. I'm watching my surroundings. Yes, I'm talking to the camera, but I know what's going on. I can be in 5th gear in a split second. I could have also been in 3rd gear. Actually get to 3rd gear a lot easier from neutral. I can get to 3rd gear easier from neutral than from 5th gear. That's for darn sure. And I'm losing speed down this hill. It's kind of going to annoy the traffic behind me, but it's not really a big deal right now. Once they get a little closer, I'll pop it back in 5th and we'll get back up to speed. And now that I got a car behind me, you know, I mean, I can save just a little bit of gas by pulsing and gliding. Check out my other videos for that. It saves about 8% depending on the car, depending on the situation. I can see up there is a stop sign. I really don't want to brake hard up to that stop sign. I'd rather just slow down for friction and whatever else. So it's downhill here. I'm gonna start coasting. I'm probably gonna be coasting all the way to that stop sign. You know, I'm gonna coast in neutral to start with because I know I'm gonna coast farther in neutral. I'm not gonna have to reaccelerate. Obviously, reacceleration is gonna cost fuel. Don't really want to do that if I can help it. But as I realize that, hey, I need to slow down just a little bit quicker, I'll shift into gear, no fuel used, and just gonna slow me down. Win-win. So I'm always thinking about, okay, how much do I need to slow down? Why do I need to slow down? I'm gonna let the engine slow me down here the rest of the way. I'm not gonna touch my brake pedal until like the last 10 meters or whatever. Holding 55 miles an hour. I did use every single gear there just because my target speed was fast enough that it made sense to use 4th gear. If it doesn't make sense to use 4th gear, I'm going to skip it and go straight to 5th, at least on this car. So now that I'm just on a straight road, there's really only one way to hold 55 miles an hour on this nice straight road in 5th gear. There's different ways to go at average speed of 55 miles per hour. I could pulse and glide here, but it's kind of pointless. I don't really want to pulse and glide right here because I'm in 5th gear just coasting. I mean, I'm not coasting, just cruising. But it's doing what it needs to. It's not really throwing a fit. It's not really being inefficient. There's not way too much vacuum in the intake manifold. You know, it's doing totally fine right now. When it comes to, you know, saving fuel, it's all about energy management, you know, not doing too much work, not working too hard. What can I do to reduce the amount of work that it takes to operate my vehicle? Air resistance is probably the most important thing on a nice open road like this. So the slower you go, the less work you have to do, the less energy you spend, less gas you buy. The heavier your wallet is, I guess they'd say. Other things that cause you to use energy, your engine is a very expensive air pump. It's very expensive to run energy-wise. I mean, maybe not in terms of like dollars. terms of energy. You know how hard it is to turn an engine by hands? It's pretty difficult. And this light is red. I'm just gonna start coasting in neutral here. I'll probably make it all the way there. I mean, it's a red light. Even if it turns green right now, there's traffic in the way. So I can't, like, it's not like I can just, you know, floor it and go. So we're just coasting in neutral, being really, really light on the car. The engine is idling right now. It is using gas, but if I was in gear slowing down, I'd slow down way too much. I have to re-accelerate and burn even more gas than I'm usually by coasting in neutral. And I can see that I'm not slowing down enough, so I'm gonna shift into gear. Now the engine is slowing me down. It's slowing me down more. I needed to slow down more, but it's not using any gas, so it works out. Now I'm on the brakes because I kind of have to. Remember, accidents are more expensive than gasoline, so. Don't cause an accident trying to save gas, people. Don't cause an accident trying to save gas. We don't like that. Take it a little easy for this fella here. Just gonna try to give him as much space as I can. Keep it slow. I'll drop it down into third, and we'll pick up speed again in a second here. Pretty much all that I could really give you right now. It's all about energy management. It's all about not revving the engine too much, not idling too much, not driving it too high of a gear, not speeding up too much, not slowing down too much. Try to avoid turning too. If you got to turn, just try to carry as much speed as you can through the turn. All of these things are going to help you save gas. Probably when it comes to hills, like if you can avoid braking down the hill, do it. If you can avoid engine braking down the hill, do that. Obviously, do what you got to do to be safe. If you got to engine brake down the hill to be safe, do it. If you got to use the brakes plus the engine brake, do that. If you got a really, really steep hill in front of you going downhill, you know, slow down before you get to the top of the hill. That way, you know, yeah, you're going to slow down, you're going to waste time, but you're not going to have to brake going down the hill. It depends on how steep it is, how long it is, but when it comes to, oh dear, what are some other things that are going to help you save fuel? Just give yourself a lot of space when you're following another car. That's just good all the time, but if they brake hard, you're not going to have to brake hard. You can use your space cushion to kind of absorb that speed difference. So if they brake hard, you can brake gently and try to catch up to them, you know. There's a lot of things you can do to reduce the amount of fuel you use. Drafting a semi-truck, I mean, I guess that'll help you save fuel, help cut down wind resistance, but do you really want to draft a semi-truck? I mean, look at this car's windshield. I bought this car like a week ago. I didn't get all these cracks in this windshield, you know, in the week I've had it. You know, the last person was drafting semi-trucks, obviously. You know how much a windshield costs? Like, probably 20 tanks of gas, maybe less than that, maybe 10 tanks of gas. I don't know how much a windshield costs. I guess I'll find out. But it's not worth damaging your car. It's not worth getting into an accident and save fuel. Try to be safe. Also realize you're not the only one on the road. I mean, I'm very hypocritical talking about this because I'm slowing down really gently. I mean, I don't try to be. I try not to be a complete jerk. If there's a stop sign up ahead, there's a red light up ahead, I'm not gonna slam my brakes up there. Okay, there's a range of what's acceptable, and a lot of people disagree with me, but I'm putting myself on what the median person, the absolute minimum deceleration rate that would be acceptable by the median person. Obviously, there's half of people approximately are gonna think that's way too slow and be slowing down, but. Screw them. I mean, what are they really doing getting to that stop sign just a little bit quicker? They're gonna have to wait for the line of traffic in front of them anyways. What do you really save getting to a red light 2 seconds quicker, 10 seconds quicker? you don't really save anything. Sometimes you can actually be a little faster. It'll be, if you get to the light when it turns red, you're going 10-15 miles an hour. That's 10-15 miles an hour less you have to build up. You know, actually, it's kind of like a battery. You know, so it gives you a good head start. I don't think it's a bad thing at all to slow down gently to a light and it turns green before you stop. That's really good. That's really good all the way around. We're gonna coast in neutral down this hill, not for very long, but just long enough. You can see I'm holding my speed. It's holding speed's great. Once it flattens out, I'll shift back into gear and we'll keep holding speed. But if gravity could do all the work, let's let gravity do all the work. Let's not use the engine. Like I said, the engine is very, very expensive to operate. So I hope y'all got something out of this. Just a quick recap to save fuel. Avoid idling, avoid revving your engine too much, avoid braking, avoid acceleration, try to time lights, try not to go too fast downhill, try to slow down early to stuff. It's really not difficult. When it comes to your gear selection, obviously just whatever's going to keep your engine the most efficient for the situation. Your engine is more efficient at making power, you know, kind of in the middle third to half. About the third to half of the rev range is where you're going to be most efficient at producing power. So this car would be about 2 to 3K because it tops out at about 6K. When you get from acceleration to cruising, if you can skip gears, if you can skip 4th, 5th gear, go straight to 6th, do that. There's no real benefit to going through all the gears. You don't have to. Neutral, it's a very, very useful tool, but try to use it sparingly. This light is definitely going to turn red. I guess I'll leave you with one more thing. When it comes to route planning, try to stay on routes that are going to have less traffic lights, less stop signs, less stopping, less car traffic, less, you know, try to keep your flow. Try to drive at times where you're not going to have as much traffic. You know, try to avoid the lunch rush, all of that good stuff. Do what you can. Obviously, sometimes you just gotta leave when you're not doing anything else. You just gotta drive home or whatever. You gotta drive to work when you gotta get there, and then blah 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 blah. You gotta do what you gotta do, but you can do it more efficiently if you put your mind to it. Got any questions? Leave them in the comments. Thanks for watching.